Hi, I'm Dylan Davis, the project manager and lead designer of Small Bag of Peas, and this is a walkthrough of our rhythm game disguised as a fighting game, Dance Brawler! Firstly, we have the shop, which was coded by Andre, our level 5 contractor, who was also responsible for creating the Mantha Says memory minigame. Both of these features are side modes, but they support the main gameplay. When you complete or lose a level in the main game, you get a high score and an amount of currency based on your score. That currency can be used to buy concept art from the shop, showcasing cut content and behind-the-scenes features which is saved to the player's session. This was inspired by the Resident Evil series, which includes a similar approach for added replayability. Secondly, we have the Mantha Says minigame. This works as a break from the main game loop of timing-based inputs, and instead focuses on memory. The player must press the correct button that is shown on the screen via the glowing colour. If they press the correct button, the pattern repeats, but with an added colour glow, increasing in difficulty over time, similar to Simon Says memory games. This gets players used to the Xbox face button positions and acts as a warm-up for the main game. Next up is the main game loop. Players play as Miguel, a young university dropout who wants to win a dance fighting tournament for a cash prize. The first level has a slower pace with less notes compared to the second level, as the first level acts as a slight tutorial to the game mechanics. We didn't want to introduce all the note types at once to the player, as that could lead to information overload, so level 1 primarily uses standard notes, hold notes, mash notes, and bomb notes. Standard notes are self-explanatory. Hold notes require the player to press and hold one button for a period of time, mash notes require the player to press a button repeatedly during a wavy line period, and bomb notes should not be pressed, otherwise the player takes damage. You will see later in level 2 the introduction of the other two note types, Trick and Ghost. Trick notes change lanes halfway through the game, and Ghost notes fade over time, so the player has to rely more heavily on being in tune with the musical beats. The other unique selling point to the game is the stance change system. Inspired by boss fights in role-playing games, every minute the enemy will change stances, requiring a different set of gameplay buttons to be used by the player. First, the D-pad, since most rhythm games use arrow keys as the default input method. Following by switching to the face buttons, then switching again to the triggers and shoulder buttons, then finally switching to using all the buttons on the Xbox controller. This is meant to amp up both the difficulty of the fight and intensity of the song over time, and to encourage players to practice. This prevents the gameplay from becoming stagnant for too long, and keeps experienced rhythm gamers on their toes as the input could change at any point. The stance change is shown via the UI changing splash text that showcases the new input. The songs also have a pause between changes to give the player a brief break from playing notes. The soundtrack is fully original and was built with the note types in mind. For instance, near the end of level 2, there are some high-pitch instruments that heavily contrast the low-pitch bassiness of the song. This is to support the introduction of Trick and Ghost notes in level 2. If the player completes the first song, they have the option of progressing to the next challenger and level, similar to the arcade story modes of fighting games like Street Fighter 2. If the player completes both songs or quits out of the first song, they can put in a username on the leaderboard with a ranking system. If this game was developed further, we could add locked items in the shop that only unlock once you complete a song on A rank or higher. The health in the game is displayed at the top like a fighting game. If the player misses too many notes or presses too many bombs, their health reaches 0 and they lose the game and are given the option to retry. Losing means restarting the song and having a lower total score, as misses deduct from your score. Meanwhile, the enemy health is functionally the same length as the song length and decreases over time with every little punch, suggesting that the opponents are much stronger than the rookie fighter you play as. Finally, there is the special meter. This meter increases every time the player gets a perfectly timed input. Perfect inputs not only dish out the highest points, but they also fill this meter. When it is full, the player enters a blue frenzy state and they briefly get double points for a limited amount of time. The project was created in 4 months by Licia, who did the gameplay code, Evelyn, who did the tech art and systems code, Nathan, Dylan E, and Lucas, who all did the characters and environment, Louis, who did the OST and a lot of the UI, and myself, who did the marketing, production, design, and some of the other art. Depending on the timing in the game, you can get various reactions: amateur, wicked, flawless, or miss. These all have different scores attached to them. Thanks for watching.